What's going on? It's Carlton. How's it going? Missed the class. Hope you're healthy. Hope you're excited for the summer as I am. And yeah, here we go. So I chose Gatsby as my redeemable character. So I said, despite Jay Gatsby's actions being super calculated, he's redeemable because of his loyalty to Daisy and kindness towards others. So by calculated, I mean everything he does is like already decided. Like he's not living in the moment, living in the present. He does everything. It's all thought out. He does everything for Daisy. So nothing's really just happening for him. It's all like, I'm gonna buy this house right here. So Daisy's right there. He's just doing it all in order for Daisy to notice him and all that. Kind of show off his wealth too, which is kind of show offy, which isn't a great trait there. So I'll introduce him a little bit. So Gatsby is a very rich man, but it wasn't always this way. He used to be poor, came from a poor family, had to work to get his wealth. When Daisy and Gatsby were young, they were in love, and he had to go to the military, which kind of screwed their relationship up. Daisy did say she would wait for him, but I think her family was kind of like, you know what, no, and Daisy probably got bored, so it was like, yo, we're going to do somebody else instead. He's now worked his way up, though, to the top of the, food chain here, and he's hoping that Daisy notices him, and because another problem with like when he was younger, Daisy left him because he was kind of poor. Daisy's family wanted someone wealthy to take care of Daisy her whole life, and Gatsby couldn't do that at the time because he was in the military from a poor family. He had no wealth to really do that. So now that he is wealthy, he's just trying to kind of show off how much wealth he has for her to notice, for her to see, because then maybe she'll fall back in love with him, and then her family will approve too. So his role in the story is mainly around Gatsby and how crazy his life is. There's so many different things going on with him, whether it's just parties, the questions behind his, occupation, his like Daisy and his love life, all that. It's a whole show. The narrator is Nick Carraway, and he talks about his times with Gatsby and how complicated his life was. Gatsby's life goal is to get back together with Daisy and live with her forever. So basically the whole story, about chapter 3 and on, is about Gatsby and like how bad he wants Daisy. Like it's all he wants in life. If he had like no money or like nothing in his life but Daisy, he'd be so happy. So basically what it's about. And Nick's the narrator, and Nick is like telling his story of his time with Gatsby and all that. So here's a picture of Gatsby. Obviously, it's no Vincent Van Gogh, it's no Mona Lisa. I did my best, but so just ignore the words. But he's the guy in blue right there. So Gatsby has tan skin. He's got short hair. He's handsome. His wealth makes him more attractive, obviously, because in the Roaring '20s, well, everything people cared about, all they wanted. And actually, in chapter 3, here's a quote. Nick says, "I was looking at an elegant young roughneck, a year or two over 30, whose elaborate formality of speech just missed being absurd." So basically, he's got everything going for him. He's wealthy, he's handsome. It's all he really needs. Everyone kind of wants him. But that kind of leads to one of my positive qualities. So he is loyal to Daisy no matter what. Like he's wealthy, so everyone kind of wants him. But he's always kind of like, no, like he's in love with Daisy. So and even though Daisy's not with him, deep down he thinks like, I'm with Daisy, Daisy's with me. I'm not gonna like cheat, for lack of a better word, on her. So here's just a little comic I kind of drew up. It's this is just a random girl at one of his parties. It's kind of hard to see. Sorry. It says, "Gatsby, want to hang out?" Gatsby's in the middle here. He says, "No, I'm loyal to Daisy. I love her." And this is Daisy just saying, "Thanks, Jay," because that kind of shows, in my opinion, that Daisy was kind of like not really appreciative towards Gatsby. Like Gatsby put his whole life to Daisy, and Daisy kind of just always, well, no, I got Tom, I got this, I got that. She can't make a choice. So her just saying, "Oh, thanks, Jay," rather than like, "Oh, you're so nice," all that kind of shows that she was not really appreciative. And then a quote I had, yeah, you can't really see, the lighting's tough here, but it says, Gatsby, read it like this, "Gatsby bought that house so Daisy would just be across the way." That's chapter 5, page 86. It's the Kindle version, so it might be different for your book, I'm not sure. But so that quote basically also shows that he's living in a house near Daisy because he's so loyal. If he lived in California, he could be doing anything You know, there's tons of girls chasing him, all that. But since he's living in, you know, street away from Daisy, he can be loyal to her whenever she needs something. He could be there, even though like she never sent a text and be like, "Yo, I need your help." So that's one of the positive traits and redeemable traits, I would say, for Gatsby. A negative one though is how calculated his actions were. So I just drew this picture up. This is Gatsby. It's Gatsby saying, let me think of some ways to get Daisy to love me again. I put that down because it's really all he does. Like, he's just sitting there always thinking, like, if I do this, is she gonna love me? If I do that, is she gonna love me? Like, it's literally all he does. It's all he thinks about. He just wants Daisy back in his life. The whole house thing could be good and it could be bad. Like, he buys a house across, like, the pond from her. It's kind of like stalkerish, number one. And number two, he does that on purpose. So when the big parties happen, he's hoping that Daisy will walk in one of these times and be like, "Oh, Gatsby, like, you're rich now. Now I really like you. My family likes you. Let's get married." It's kind of a fantasy, but I guess back in the 20s, that's how it was. And so the quote I said was, "He talked a lot about the past, and I gathered that he wanted to recover something, perhaps something that had gone into him loving Daisy." That's chapter 6, page 112. Once again, Kindle version. Not sure if you have the same page numbers. But yeah, I mean, he's always talking about the past. It's everything about this man is just Daisy, 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 Daisy. Like, every move he makes is for Daisy. Everything he does, like Nick's relationship with Gatsby is for Daisy and it's about Daisy. Like, it's crazy how everything in this life is just Daisy. Like, it's all about Daisy. It's just mind blowing to me. Another positive trait though that I had was he's super kind to everybody. This kind of doesn't really involve Daisy, but it's just he's always so nice. Like, sometimes rich people, at least in movies and books, I find, are kind of like snobs and like, no, like you're not rich, get out of here. Like, they're just mean. So I thought it was kind of noteworthy how nice Gatsby was to everybody. And yeah, I mean, he's having these huge parties. Like, people are having a great time. Like, it's not like his goal is to have Daisy go, sure. It's the wrong intentions, but people are still partying it up and living it up in his house, so that's kind of a nice thing to do by him. So I just drew this visual. Here's Gatsby. Here's some of his guests. I just said, "Hey, everybody, thanks for coming. I hope you are all well." And then he's on his staircase looking down like he was in the book at one of his parties. And then these are all his guests just saying, "Hey, Gatsby, great party, man." Like, Gatsby's being kind by greeting them, but they're kind of just, like, using him for his house. And yeah, he knows that, but still, I mean, he's being nice by having him over. He's just so kind. And the quote I said for this was, "I shouldn't ask too much of her," he ventured. "You can't repeat the past." That's chapter 5, page 93 for me. He, like, I don't know, I just see that as being so nice because he doesn't want to ask too much of her, even though she kind of left him and did him dirty in a way by saying, "Yeah, I'll wait for you, Jay, go to war, come back, I'll be here waiting," and then she left him for Tom. That's kind of rude. And now she can't decide, like, "Oh, Tom, Gatsby, who do I go with?" But still, Gatsby's like, "You know what, no, I shouldn't ask too much of her, can't repeat the past, all that." He's just kind of a good overall guy, in my opinion, so he should probably be redeemable because of how kind he was. That's at least something going his way, in my opinion. So yeah, basically, overall, despite Jay Gatsby's actions being calculated, everything he does was calculated, but despite his actions being calculated, he is redeemable because of his loyalty to Daisy in all situations and his kindness to others, no matter how wealthy they are.